This is my standard disclaimer. I'm not an expert in anything, and I generally don't put much research into these vids because we're just talking about song lyrics here. So if I'm wrong about any specific thing, sorry. I'm a one-dude campaign here. Also, a portion of every video is off the cuff, so sensitive topics may arise without specific content warning. This is just how one magical wombat bard sees the world from his burrow through the filter of lyrics. On to the show. Welcome to Lyrical Poetry, the show with no schedule. I am, of course, the Wombat Kid. I took last week off and planned to do pieces by Machine Supremacy when I got back, but the Biden administration is in the middle of manufacturing consent for an armed conflict in Cuba, so American Idiot is relevant again, as it perennially becomes. American Idiot was the title track for Green Day's 7th album, released in 2004. If you're over 25 and you live in North America, you've heard this song before, I guarantee you. Random shout out to a much larger channel, but Lindsay Ellis did a really good video called Protest Music of the Bush Era that explores the context the song was written in. And now watch me try to say anything intelligent about it in comparison. This'll be fun. Canadian Idiot, away! Don't want to be an American idiot. Don't want a nation under the new media. Can you hear the sound of hysteria? The subliminal mindfuck America. Welcome to a new kind of tension, all across the alien nation, where everything isn't meant to be okay. Television dreams of tomorrow? We're not the ones who are meant to follow, for that's enough to argue. Well, maybe I'm the faggot America. I'm not a part of the redneck agenda. Now everybody do the propaganda, and sing along to the age of paranoia. Welcome to a new kind of tension, all across the alien nation, where everything isn't meant to be okay. Television dreams of tomorrow? We're not the ones who are meant to follow, for that's enough to argue. Don't want to be an American idiot. One nation controlled by the media. Information age of hysteria. It's going out to idiot America. Welcome to a new kind of tension, all across the alien nation, where everything isn't meant to be okay. Television dreams of tomorrow. We're not the ones who are meant to follow, for that's enough to argue. The song is poppy and upbeat, so a lot of people hear it and don't even realize it's a protest song. You could be forgiven for thinking it just says all Americans are idiots, which really isn't the point here. What this is actually about is how easily most people are strung along by the media. At the beginning of the Iraq War, polls showed that 80% of Americans were in favor of invading Iraq. A country, I will remind you, was invaded under the pretext of having weapons of mass destruction that they never had, and that the people telling us knew they never had. Some people might call me a liberal hack for invoking Rachel Maddow, but she actually did a really good documentary called Why We Did It, which was all about America's false pretenses of entering the Iraq War to steal their oil. But if you falsely tell people enough times that Iraq did 9/11 and they have weapons of mass destruction, you can pretty easily corral them into doing whatever it is you want them to do. Pretty much all major media has a bias towards liberalism. So when a liberal president says they want to go to war with some place, they're going to follow suit. And for those of you new here, liberalism isn't just the people we normally call liberals. That's only one side of liberalism called social liberalism. Conservatives are also liberals. Another name for conservatives is classical liberals. If you've ever asked the question, what are they conserving? The thing they're conserving is classical liberalism. Of course, now that everybody knows the Iraq War was bullshit, the amount of people who will actually admit to having been for the Iraq War is zero. It's straight up liberal memory holding. I've said it before, but 1984 was not a warning about some future fascist dictatorship. It was a description of liberalism. And you can see this in the actual lyrics. That's what the first verse is about. Don't want to be an American idiot. Don't want a nation under the new media. Can you hear the sound of hysteria? The subliminal mindfuck America. Straight up comparing all the lies that were told to us to get America into the Iraq War to subliminal messaging, which, yeah, that's pretty apt. Yikes, I'm at 4 minutes already. This is a very short song, but it's got a lot packed into it, huh? Time to move on to the second verse finally, I guess. Maybe I'm the faggot America, I'm not a part of the redneck agenda, now everybody do the propaganda, and sing along to the age of paranoia. If you think cancel culture is bad now, you should have seen conservative cancel culture around the Iraq War. Look up what happened to the Dixie Chicks sometime. Yeah, anybody who didn't want to fight a war was a faggot. If you don't want to kill brown people for fun and profit, you're the real problem, and you should leave America. Just like if you don't want America to bomb Cuba, you're a commie, and you should go live in Cuba if you like it so much. Like, love it or leave it is seen as only a conservative thing, but I've totally gotten shit like that from liberals for telling them that maybe we should just end the embargo so Cuba can actually have resources so that they don't have the protests. Like, this situation in Cuba is wild. They have a lack of resources because America won't let them import something. So some of their people have started protests over the fact that they can't get access to medical care because of the US embargo, and the US now wants to use this as a pretext to invade them. It's fucking gross. It's basically the same thing again as the Iraq War. We'll see if they say they have weapons of mass destruction, but I've already had a liberal on Reddit tell me that the Russians are gonna put nukes on Cuba to attack America because it's the fucking Cold War in 1960s again. Like I have to 100% support Cuba's government in order to not want people to fucking bomb them. I think they should sort out their internal affairs internally. And also that America should fucking let them trade with people. You know, Cuba hasn't been able to import cars since the 1950s because of America. And Americans keep saying it's because of human rights abuses, but they still do business with, like, China and Saudi Arabia and Israel. And Biden's speech about how communism never works, while meanwhile 100 million people in the past 10 years have died of starvation because capitalists won't provide them food because it's not profitable. And if you think I'm being harsh comparing Biden to Trump, Democrats had years to remove the USA Patriot Act and did not. They renewed it. In fact, Obama's the one who started the drone strike program and opened the concentration camps, which liberals are now saying aren't concentration camps now that Trump isn't running them. They're literally just as bad. Go into a liberal space and tell them that Obama opened the concentration camps in the first place and watch the hell rain on you. It's actually sort of fun. I don't want to be an American idiot. One nation controlled by the media. Information age of hysteria. It's going out to idiot America. This doesn't just apply to Americans, though. I'm Canadian, as you know, and if you've been following the news, you know about the residential schools. I actually knew about these already because I was taught about it in high school, but apparently people are just learning about this for the first time now. Liberals and conservatives were both complicit in the residential school system. Justin Trudeau is currently fighting residential school survivors in court to stop them from getting settlements. With credit, Canada didn't go into Iraq, but we did go into all of America's other fucked up wars for the same reasons. Our people also believed that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. Or look how Canadian liberals react to the RCMP invading Native American space in Wet'suwet'en. The RCMP invaded Native American space to help build a pipeline with the threat of violence. They were willing to kill people to put this pipeline through. And liberals are still defending this shit. This has been going on for years. If you don't live in the United States or Canada, but you live in another liberal democracy, look around for this kind of shit, because it happens all the time. People are really susceptible to misinformation because they're sort of taught to be. The liberal school system just teaches you how to work. It doesn't teach you how to think critically in most places. It's a real problem. Anyway, the Biden administration has put out a presser labeling me and people like me who just don't like capitalism as terrorists. So welcome to the new McCarthyism, this time brought to you by Democrat Joe Biden. Different types of socialism have been becoming a lot more popular since 2000 because of this bullshit, so now the administration is fighting back against us by calling us terrorists. And if the Iraq War has taught me anything, 80% of people will just agree with a liberal because. Pretty depressing episode this week. I'll see you next time. That's the show. Thanks for watching. If you like what I'm trying to do, please leave some feedback in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. My Patreon is also in the description box if you're so inclined. If you don't like what I do, complain about it in the comments and downvote, because it's all engagement, and the site sees it the same way. See you next time.